In the land of 10,000 lakes, a remarkable movement was born. Welcome to Hometown Hero Outdoors. We are dedicated to honoring our military service members, veterans, and first responders by providing them with unforgettable outdoor recreational opportunities. We believe those who have served and sacrificed so much for our country and communities deserve a chance to reclaim their spirit and find healing in the great outdoors. This is Hometown Hero Outdoors.
Welcome back to all our listeners out there with the Hometown Hero Outdoors podcast. I am here today with John Sewell. John Sewell is the ranch manager down at Harris Ranch. We've had a partnership with John over the past going on 3 years now. John is down in Uvalde, and I know I'm going to catch heat for saying it incorrectly because my Minnesota twang, you said. For down at the ranch down there is right on the border of Mexico. And John, just want to introduce yourself to the listeners, let everyone know who you are and where you're located.
Good. Yeah, I really appreciate y'all having me on. We're way down here, close to the border, about 35 miles, I guess, as a crow flies, but in between San Antonio and Del Rio, basically. And we're in the brush country, and we're a deer hunting operation, a ranching operation. And, I got involved with you guys just through happenstance, and we've been off to the races for 3 years, and we want to keep moving on. Obviously, I'm in the deer raising business. I love big deer. I love free range whitetails, and I have a lot of deer that need to be harvested each year, and that's why I've chosen to take your guys in the field, try to make a difference in their lives.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for everything you do for our members and working with the organization and really connecting with us. I hear nothing but good things from everyone that goes to the ranch, and I know some people get jealous and want to go back quite a bit, but you guys are sitting on how many acres down there?
Around 17,000, a little bit plus or minus more than that. But, it's all brush country and it's just whitetail country. I was born and raised in Florida, so my dream was always South Texas, and here I am. I've been here 29 years, so celebrating a long haul here, and just been very, very fortunate to be on a great direction to grow big, fair chase, low fence whitetails.
That's awesome. So yeah, let's start there then. So you grew up in Florida. What did your upbringing look like as a youth, and then getting into adulthood and moving to Texas? Just put us on that journey.
Yeah, we gotta have a whole nother show for that, Chris.
Well, maybe we can do that.
Yeah, I was just been very blessed all my life. I feel like I was dealt a very good hand, even though I had some, divorce in my family, as everybody else does, and separated parents and all of that. I was adopted to start with. So, I was adopted at a young age into a family, and I can't say enough about how fortunate I am to have been chosen by them. And my parents were working class people, and my dad hunted and fished, and so that led me to loving it. And so all the years of growing up with him, taking me, and then of course getting old enough to take myself, I made some connections younger in life in a job that one of the gentlemen I worked for, his family owned this ranch. So I was invited to come out here when I was a young kid, and at 12 or 13 years old. And I just had a burning desire every year to want to come back. Well, when something happened in his family and some things changed and deaths in the family, according to, people that could or couldn't be here to run it and so on and so forth, I was asked, would I be interested in taking the helm? And of course I was very, happy to do that. So I got the opportunity to come back and start piddling with it a little bit here and there. And finally got an opportunity to basically sell out the businesses that I had in Florida and move out here and take over. Maybe it wasn't the best move financially, but it was the absolute best move for me in my life. And I have a daughter that grew up here, and she loves this life as well. You know, I just can't even say enough of how fortunate I am. And, you know, that brings us to the next level of how unbelievably fortunate to take this life and be able to share it with others, especially those who have issues and have troubled past that can't seem to get by that stuff, you know.
Yeah. So you already had some sense of business. It sounds like you said you had to sell.
Yeah, I was in the tree relocation business in Central Florida for quite some time, and I did a lot of work at Disney and Universal, and I did lots of work in the tree industry in Florida and all the Southeast as far as that goes. So yeah, I mean, I was savvy in business, but it's not so much business savviness you need to learn how to run a ranch. I did not have that background. I did not have I did not have any kind of formal schooling past high school. School of Hard Knocks, I got a lot of that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Coming out here and taking what I had in all the years of my life in the past, bringing it here and instrumenting a lot of things that were new to me, and trying to understand what it was going to take to not only be a manager of deer, but a manager of land and stewardship and conservation. And so, you know, that's been my goal. And I always say, if you take care of the land, it will absolutely take care of you.
Yeah, no, and you chased your dream, really. You know, you've been going there for so long and moved away from other businesses. And like you said, financially wasn't the most responsible thing. No, but you know, truly, I mean, with you took a leap. You took a leap of faith, and you've enjoyed your life and your decision ever since.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that there's no one that has been as fortunate as I have. And again, I say all the time, I don't know how I don't even know how I got here, but you know, a leap of faith. You said it, and so here we are. And you know, I was learning how to run ranches and you know stuff about conservation and stewardship and water, which is so important out here. And I had some people come out to visit me after I'd been here. I think it was the year was 2017 then, and you know, talked about some award, a Lone Star Stewardship Award. I never even heard of it. And these people were like, you know, you're doing everything that we preach to everyone, and you don't even have any idea how you got here. And I'm like, no, it was pretty funny. But anyway, I was chosen for the Lone Star Stewardship Award in 2017. So that's a award given by the Texas Parks and Wildlife for the best managed ranch in Zone 8, which is probably 40 or 50 million acres of South Texas. And
Wow.
you know, there's probably less than 300 of us that have ever been chosen. So very, very humbling uh, period that validated everything that I was doing for not only you know the future, but cleaning up what was done wrong in the past, and being able to take land conservation to the next level.
And you said that, I mean, that's a huge testament to your dedication to the ranch and the things you did there. You know, when you talked about not having any quote unquote formal education with conservation and land management, though. So those are the things that you would say you've learned throughout what you called hard knocks.
Yeah, absolutely. I took everything that everybody would tell me, and you know, read about it or look at things that somebody would say, and instrument it into my situation. And if it worked out well for me, I would say, you know, hey, they were right. And if it didn't work out for me, I would try to tweak it a little bit to make it what they're trying to tell me. And so taking what was told and being able to twist it a little bit or do it a little different for my situation really paid off. And you know, again, I never even dreamed I would be in that position to get that award. So very humbling.
That's fantastic. No, congratulations on that, and hopefully you get it again another time. But about the deer and the conservation that you do have there, I know you have 17,000 ish acres. You said, you know, and is it fenced completely?
No, it's not completely fenced. So we do have some bad neighbors that we have to keep out, but we have miles of still low fence.
Also, all the deer can move in and out. So obviously, you're not bringing in genetically modified deer. Essentially, it's all free range, natural.
Yeah, it's all free range. I did some of a program that Texas Parks and Wildlife offered to everybody in the state, which is called Triple T. And Triple T stands for Trap, Tag, and Transfer. So you can go to, before CWD, but you could go to a rancher that you knew had really high quality South Texas deer, and he had been managing for quite some time. And you could ask him, hey, if you got 100 does to harvest this year, uh, would you be interested in giving me 50? And he would say, sure, you can have them. They're not allowed to sell them. And then
Hmm.
you have to hire a helicopter service and a crew, and you would go down and capture them with a net gun and a helicopter. And then you would relocate them back up here to your place. And so I did that for 5 years, and that
Oh
brought
wow.
hybrid vigor. They were all wild deer from the wild, but I wanted hybrid vigor, and I would like to change up my genetics. And that was a program that was offered to everyone. And I did that for 5 years. And that was really a kickstart to a change for me. Um, I was feeding protein, I was feeding cottonseed, I was doing all the things that I was supposed to do. And we were killing some big deer, some 170 plus inch deer, but they were infrequent. And I know that's an infrequent animal. It's just the odds of killing a 170-inch deer in fair chase is, I don't even know where it is today, but there's nearly 6 million deer harvested in the United States each year, and I don't know how many of them are truly 170 class deer in low fence. So um, that changed my direction, and then I kind of get to a plateau in the whole situation, and felt like, there's got to be something I'm missing. Why am I not getting bigger and better? Some of these deer that I've brought in should have better genetics, should have helped me in the long run, and the hybrid vigor. So I started working on some feed options and thinking what was going to make our situation better, and quality of feed and so on and so forth. And I got with a guy, Hunter Barrett, and Hunter uh, was also looking for a new outlet to start a business and so on and so forth. So he started working with his family, which were cattle feeder. His family were cow guys; they fed cattle,
Hmm.
and uh, and they started working on the implementing a fortification for cottonseed, basically putting a mineral and a vitamin pack on cottonseed, just the same stuff that they put in deer pellets.
Hmm.
So we changed it up a little bit and put chelated form minerals in there, which are about 30% more digestible and utilizable in a whitetail deer and cattle and anything. So we started that about 7.5 years ago or 8 years ago. And I just took a lot of time in trying it in a control to make sure it was going to be what I wanted it to be. And I was just blown away at the quality of change.
Hmm. That much just from the feed.
Yeah, absolutely. It has changed. 3 years ago, this is my 7th year on 365 days of free choice feed. And it's all fortified cottonseed. I feed nothing else. We do put out corn, and that's bait. It's not feed.
Yeah.
Uh, um, and so with that being said, 365 days of this feed has not only changed our antler quality, it's changed our fawn recruitment. We got a super high fawn recruitment. Our survivability of our fawns are through the roof. Our conception rate is incredibly high. Lots of does, almost all the mature does have two fawns, and a lot have three. It's just crazy what that change has brought in the last 7 years. And so, we're killing several deer in the last few years over 200 inches.
Wow.
And that's just kind of unheard of in our country. When I say our country, this northern end of the South Texas zone.
Those are some massive deer. And so over time, you're talking about using the cotton feed and then also having the former, you have corn, you said too. Do you see their habits or their their feeding habits? Do they vary between the different types of feed that give them between the corn or the cottonseed? Do they prefer one over the other?
Well, we keep cottonseed at every place we feed corn, and we keep cottonseed at every place we have water. I'm going to tell you, a deer at this point in the game, our deer prefer cottonseed. Cottonseed is an incredible source of fat, very, very high fat content, 17 to 20%. Well, why is fat so important? For a couple reasons. A couple reasons are, one, it is what's needed for a doe to produce high quality fat milk for their yearlings or their fawns. Secondly, a deer, a cow, any ungulate will limit on fat. So when I say limit, they won't eat themselves into oblivion because the fat makes them stop. In cattle feeds, they put salt in feeds to stop their amount, to stop how much they eat based on a salt content. So we want deer to eat all they want to eat, and we want them to get all the fat they can get. And we want that fat to be available for those bucks, especially going into the rut and coming out of the rut. Anybody who hunts deer and understands deer harvest knows what their deer look like prior to the rut, and they know what they look like after the rut. And they're very, very poor compared to what they looked like in September versus February. So turning those deer around with fat is ultimately the biggest part of what I've learned about this feed. Is those deer do not get to a point of no return. Most of your deaths in whitetail deer are post-season rut caused by being very weak and potentially having bad weather because of a very hard rut, lots of fighting, so on and so forth. So this has taken deer that people would say, oh, you better harvest them by 6.5 because they're going to be run out and they're going to be poor and they're not going to be able to recover. We're not harvesting our trophy deer till 10 plus.
Wow.
So it's taken a whole different avenue from what we learned. One, we always learned, oh, you feed protein or you feed supplemental feed from after deer season to right before deer season and you stop. I think that's the biggest mistake anybody's making. Those deer do not want to stop eating that protein or that supplemental feed until the rut is on. So we've taken them off in October. Our fawns are 70 days old or 75 days old at the most. And we've taken them off. And then potentially if we're harvesting does early in the season that are leaving orphan fawns behind. And those fawns don't have a choice. If you're feeding out of tube feeders that are elevated and a little difficult, the fawn can't reach that. So he has no supplement. Now his mother's gone. You've been supplementing them whole family because she was getting supplementation. And then the fawn was getting good nursing. And then you cut it all off and everybody kind of goes into a tailspin. Gut health, I think humans are starting to figure out gut health is massively important. And we've been battling gut health with animals forever. And if you can keep a roller coaster out of their life, keep them from going up being good and down being bad all the time by changing their diet and taking them off of feed and putting them on feed, the whole picture is better in the long run.
Yes, that's a lot of time and observation and research, I'm assuming, to figure all that out.
Yeah, that's what we call the school of hard knocks. I've made all the bad mistakes that cost a lot.
Hey, that's where we learn the best, making the mistakes, and then you try not to do it again. So how much feed or cottonseed do you guys go through in a year?
I don't even want to say, but about 350 tons.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And then does it come from someone else in Texas?
Yeah, Hunter Barrett at Fortified Cottonseed in Plainview, Texas, North Texas, about 7 hours from here, has a facility up there. A lot of cotton's grown in that area, so that's just a great place to have a facility. But um, I would like to think that we could get something moving a little bit further to the south so we could cut down on freight and all of the things that go along with that. But, we're moving it as far east as Georgia and Florida and so on and so forth. So it's catching on. We reinvented the wheel. I really feel that. And I'm going to tell you, I'll never go back to feeding any kind of pellet or supplemental feed other than cottonseed. It's a single source feed. Very, very few pigs eat it. Raccoons don't eat it. Bears don't eat it. Turkeys don't eat it. So, and you just pour it out on the ground, basically. You can put it in a basket if you want. You can put it in a trough that's covered so you can keep moisture off of it. You can pour it on the ground. They prefer it on the ground. So, very easy to feed.
And you got 17,000 acres, with a massive deer population. If you were to estimate how many deer you probably have on that property, take a wild guess. How many are there?
Right now, around 2,300.
That's a lot of deer.
Yeah.
That's a lot of deer.
Too many. It's a full-time job just maintaining a number.
How many do you typically harvest a year?
We're always pushing for 500 or in that 500 range, about equal bucks versus does, 250 and 250.
It's a lot of deer too. I mean, but though you talked about your reproduction with the deer and that they are very successful with each mating season and having the birth of you said two yearlings per deer usually.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little area here that I frequent along the main road, and there's 3 does on the main road that have raised 3 this year, and they all look great, and the doe looks great. So, it kind of comes with a double-edged sword. We can't keep up with the recruitment because we just can't harvest the numbers. So, that brings us to what I felt like I wanted to do for you guys is I wanted to find somebody who had some people that wanted to enjoy the outdoors, and I wanted to help. I wanted to help people who don't have the opportunity that I have. And so I reached out to some people and they asked me a couple questions, and before I know it, I'm in touch with Chris, and I'm in touch with Sean, who was in touch with you, and here we are. We're starting or turning over, hopefully, a new leaf moving forward the last 3 years, and to make a long-term commitment and relationship with you guys to get more people in the field to help me harvest these animals. It doesn't have to be a trophy buck, and it doesn't have to be a monster buck for these guys that are coming out. It has a lot more to do with the harvest of the hunt. And, I have just been, I guess, blown away from what I didn't know about what we're doing here and what it has meant, not only to us, but to the people who are coming. They have not only the utmost appreciation for what we're doing, but they need outside help. They need people that are grounded like us, that sit around the dinner table all together at night, that talk about real life things that we deal with every day. And for myself, I'm not an ex-military. I'm not an ex-law enforcement. And so it really drives home what I did not know. And every time we do a hunt, it just digs a little deeper into what your being is and why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, us who have not been there are not doing enough. And I hate to say that. I hate to throw everybody in that bus. but I damn sure wasn't doing enough. And now it just makes you want to do more. And wanting to do more is easy to take people hunting, but it's hard to afford it when you're trying to give it away. So, that's why we're kind of in the middle road of taking, 20, 30, 40 guys a year. My goal is to take 100 guys a year. Can we get there? I think we can get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we just need to.
Yeah, the things that these guys bring to me is you can't put a price on.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Phil, podcast producer for the Hometown Hero Outdoors podcast. I know your time is valuable, and we thank you for listening to our podcast. Can I ask you a favor? On whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on right now, could you please give us a 5-star review? It is very helpful when growing our podcast and expanding the message of HHO. Thank you. Now, here's a word from our sponsors. Voted Best Electrician 7 times between 2016 and 2022, O'Neill Electric was established in 2016 and is located in the Stillwater, Minnesota area. They provide commercial, industrial, and residential electrical installation and maintenance services. Their team strives to be the most helpful electrical contractor you'll ever work with, from the office to the field. Licensed and bonded in both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Go to their webpage at o'neillelectricmn.com. Founded in 1922, the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association, MPPOA, is the largest association representing licensed peace officers in the state of Minnesota and fights to maintain the highest ethical standards in the profession. Licensed police officers with the MPPOA membership have access to the Legal Defense Fund, homeowner and auto insurance, have a voice in the Minnesota legislature, and more. Go to MPPOA.com for more information. Relentless Defender set out to design clothing apparel that police officers could wear with pride. They sell only top-of-the-line apparel, bringing you custom soft ink designs not found anywhere else. Relentless Defender makes it a priority to give back and donates a portion of all sales to various police charities. They stock all products and ship out same day whenever possible. Visit them at relentlessdefender.com.
Yeah, I mean, and the outdoors is a place for us to go and relax and bond together. And yes, we do a lot of outdoor hunting and fishing and things like that, but that's just the vehicle. It's really about the experience and the people that you're with. It's the peer support, it's the conversations, it's the camaraderie in the outdoors, it's the relaxing, and it's hitting that reset button in the place with like-minded individuals who've been through something same or similar. But really, the world becomes a little smaller because you feel a lot of our individuals who have served feel like they're a bit on an island. But once you get everyone together in the same room, or you sit with someone in a blind like down at Harris Ranch, and there's other individuals there, you can really talk about the experiences you've had and really focus on all these things in a very peaceful place. The hunt is an experience in itself, which is phenomenal. But there's a lot of in between that happens there too. And I know that you guys have shared a lot of tears with people down there, between yourself, John, Jim, who's there helping, as well as Sean and other field staff that we go have assist at Harris Ranch. We know that people share a lot of tears in those blinds, kind of navigating a lot of the mental things that have been weighing on them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I say it every hunt. When we get done, I'm like, how many grown men cried this week?
Right.
And nobody can say it wasn't me. And nobody can say that it wasn't me, because everybody sheds a tear. I mean, you can't help but to.
Right.
And so, that again is what has been such a driving force for me to want to do more and to help as much as I can. And hey, these guys got our numbers. We tell them that gate's always open. You ever have a snag, 24 hours a day, you get a hold of us. We're grounded. We can move on to the next job. Jim, of course, he's been there. He's been in BORTAC. He's been in law enforcement. He's been in the Army. He's been there. I have not. So Jim ultimately can bond with them way better than I can because he knows what they're talking about. Myself, I'm just trying to shed light on my real world, all the things I can bring to the table for them, whether it's something they're asking about or some question about something that maybe I have some help. But the bottom line is nobody leaves here with a handshake. Everybody leaves here with a hug.
I love it.
That's amazing to me. We're all grown men, we're like a bunch of little kids when we get here and we bond. Everybody leaves here. It's a whole, grab and bust somebody on the back because you're not just going to shake somebody's hand.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, I hear a lot of people that I think this last go around when you guys had a bunch of our members out, there was about 1,000 applicants that put in for that week that you hosted people at. So the word's out and they know what's happening there and they know what you guys are going through and helping with. And I think people are really excited to get down there and assist with that. But one of the things that you also brought up too is, you're doing 20, 30, 40 people a year and you really want to do 100 a year. And that's something we communicated at our gala when you were up here. Also with a couple other videos we put out, really talking about the mental health side of things and how some assistance from the general public would be absolutely phenomenal to help us to get more people there because we know it's changing lives. I talked to Jim not long ago and he's talking about just how much, he said that he's tired, but it's not that he's tired from all the physical work. It's really helping take on a lot of these feelings and working with individuals through what they're experiencing, which isn't a bad thing. We're here to help, and that's what happens. It can be mentally exhausting too, not in a bad way, but in a good way. And I really do think that you guys are changing lives down there. I really do.
Yeah, it's been, just the stories we've heard from the couple of years we've done it. People, like, when they have a crisis in their life, we're the next guy they call. We're not a week down the road. They call us, pretty quick, to tell us they've had a crisis in their life. They want to talk about it. That means you're changing someone's life. You're giving them an outlet. And with that being said, again, how do we get 100 people out here? Well, I play Jim and I play the lottery each week, or Jim does, and says, if we can just win the lottery, we'll have it made. And because we'll just give it all back to the organization to get more people in the field. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. I'm almost 60 years old. I've been unbelievably blessed and fortunate, and sharing this and being able to afford to keep it operating in the manner that it's operating, and getting more people in the field. Unfortunately, hunting has become a rich man's sport, and it costs a lot of money to operate, and so on and so forth. But it's not all about that. If I got to do, I told Sean earlier, if I got to do 25 or 30 guys a year on my dime, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a difference. It's just being able to afford it, and being able to afford 350 tons of cottonseed a year, and the electric and the fuel and all the stuff that goes along with it. Everybody knows it's not like we're poor mouthing, but we're trying to make a difference, and not have to sell these hunts, but to give them away. And getting to that level of where it's going to take to get 100 guys in the field. We have a member that makes wooden flags, and I told him when he brought a unbelievable flag down here, and I said my goal is to get the back of that flag signed by everybody and get 1,000 names on it. So he brought a pretty big one, and that's our goal. So we have everybody that's coming signing the back of that flag with their branch and their name and their date. And we're telling them not to write big because we want to get a bunch of people on the back of that flag.
Oh, good old Josh Melching. He's a good guy.
You bet. Yeah, for sure. And, the connections that we have made, and hopefully the changes we made in other people's life, you can't put a cost on it, a price of
No.
what.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, you talked about, the expenses and stuff, but like you can't, like you said, you can't put a price on that. I mean, it's just the sheer help that is massive. And there's a couple people I want to send down there at some point here. I know they've been through a lot in law enforcement side of things in the recent couple of years, so it'd be good for them to get down there, meet you guys, and get to experience the ranch. But we did do a fundraiser about 2 years ago, and that we did sell some hunts for you guys, and that helped us with some of the expenses down there. But down the road, I'm looking to see if there's any individuals that would like to assist. And we are more than grateful for anything that people can provide to assist with other individuals, just like the organization and all, but specifically Harris Ranch, because it is a very unique property and there are very special people there that are running the Harris Ranch and that are giving their own time. And I mean, you've had how many people this last time that went through there? Was it?
Yeah, we had 12, last 2 weeks. We had 12, and we're hoping to do 12 more. You know what we found, and I think it was the first year we did, up to 50 guys, and we ran them through too fast. We gave them the hunt, and we gave them a night here, and we gave them a day here, but nobody wanted to leave, and you really just start to get in to a bonding situation on the second day. So we made these hunts last a little longer this year. It let us take less people, but it gave them more time, and that more time potentially is a lifesaver for some of these guys.
Found that sweet spot.
Yeah. So
no, it's good.
I mean, when you have people that are here, Chris, and they show up and they hunt with us for a day and a half, and someone mentions that maybe someone's not going to be able to make it on the next hunt, and they say, well, can I just go stay in Uvalde in case they don't come? I'll get a hotel, and then can I come back?
Right.
Like there's, it's meaning something to those guys,
Yeah. No, it's, and a lot of people too. I mean, you do have probably some Southern folk that are from Texas that do come to the ranch, but a lot of us Northerners, it's a different experience for us to come down to Texas and experience your guys' form of hunting and deer management in the ranches. We're not used to that up here. It's very, very different, and it's very eye opening, but it's also gets a little bit of a different sense of hunting culture, which I'm not used to, so I love going to Texas myself. I used to come down and hog hunt every year go back to 2012 almost, but I've been coming to Texas to hunt with Sean at his youth hunt for the last 3 years, going on 4, but I just love coming down there and experiencing it, and just the culture and how everyone respects our law enforcement and our first responders and military. It's just a different world. And I think that's an experience in itself on top of what you have to offer. I think that's why people like it a lot, especially coming out of state.
Yeah. Yeah. We got guys that come, on some of the hunts from you guys all the way from North Dakota.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty impressive to come way down here from North Dakota for a couple of days. But shoot, man, we love it. We love them to come from anywhere, whether it's close or far, we're in.
Bucket list thing to do for a lot of people. But you guys also do other hunts on the property too. I think you guys, didn't you have a couple javelinas?
Yeah, we have javelina. We have, of course, wild pigs. We have wild turkey. We don't do any, much turkey hunting in the fall, but we do in the spring. And then, of course, we have doves and all those things that go along with just normal everyday hunting. But, for the most part, we're focused on deer, and we get some free range and exotics that get in here. And, like Sean can tell you, I hunt those things like the plague. So I'm not a guy. So if we get one, we try to hunt them until we can get them.
For the exotics.
Exotics would be axis deer, fallow deer. Right now we have aoudad, we have red deer, we have axis deer, and we have fallow deer. One of each of those species, and they jump in from the outside. They get out of somebody else's place, and they jump in from the outside, and then we target them and try to get rid of them.
Yeah. There's exotics all over Texas. I think I just saw a news report where someone was sitting in their deer stand and had a tiger walk underneath it recently.
Oh gosh, yeah, we don't have any tigers yet.
No, I don't want any of that nonsense.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And do you guys have any like fish ponds on the ranch or anything like that?
We have some small ponds, but we don't really stock them or do anything with them. They're kind of flood in the river and they come and go, so we don't mess with that much.
Are all the turkeys the Rios?
Yeah, all the Rios here.
That's cool. Yeah, those are hard to come by, especially up here. It's all Eastern and Miriam. So yeah, we don't see a whole lot of those.
Yeah, we got guys that chase the Grand Slam and the World Slam and all of that turkey hunting nonsense. But I've done all that. I'm an avid turkey hunter, and so I've killed the World Slam a couple times and the Grand Slam multiple times and Royal Slam 4 or 5 times. I mean, I was as crazy of a turkey hunter as there ever was.
Oh, I love turkey hunting. For us, there's something about being cooped up all winter in the Northland, and then all of a sudden you get the spring to hit, and you have a responsive animal in the woods, and sitting out and listening to the woods come back to life and the birds, and just everything's waking up, and having those thunder chickens come back at you is so much fun. I love it.
It's good sensory overload, kind of.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it.
This one's scary. 66% of Americans would struggle to pay for a $1,000 emergency. We don't keep any money in the savings accounts, right? The scary part about that is that 8 out of 10 of us watching this right now are going to experience a $5,000 whoopsie every 10 years. Something's going to happen. Kid's going to break a leg and there's going to be out-of-pocket max medical that year, right? There's going to be a hailstorm or a fire or some kind of a natural disaster that causes us to have to write a big old check for our deductible for the roof replacement or the car, right? Something's going to happen. And I want you to think back to the last time you had a financial emergency. Was it the event that caused the stress, or was it trying to figure out how to pay for the event that caused the stress?
Well, very good. Yeah. So, if any individuals want to become involved with the Harris Ranch, say you do other hunts outside of our organization, how would individuals go about doing that?
I unfortunately do not have a website. I don't advertise at all because I really don't have a lot of spots available for others. And the best way is to just contact me via cell phone. And I hate to throw my number out there to 10 million people, but hey,
No, you're good.
Wants to come hunting, I would certainly talk to them. And again, if you're military or law enforcement and you want to get out, you need to follow HHO on Facebook, I believe. And those guys are very good about getting back to you. I know Sean fields a lot of people, Vic, Josh, you, and a lot of people are interested. So we want to get people out there and give them an opportunity. And we're going to try to do a couple weeks of hunting in late January. So we're going to have another couple trips available.
Fantastic. And if there's anything else that you would like to, let our listeners know about you or an assistance that you're looking for, would you care to share any words about that?
Well, not much to talk about me. It's nothing about me. It's about doing something for guys that are struggling. Again, I've been very fortunate, and I feel like I'm done with worrying about what tomorrow is going to bring me. I'm worried about what tomorrow is going to bring these guys. So, assistance for me? No, I don't need any assistance. I need to figure out how to get 100 guys a year in the woods. So if anybody has any really good ideas about, I'm not a marketing guy, and I'm not a charitable donation guy. I'm none of that. But what I am is a guy that can provide an outlet for people who are struggling, and there's a lot of that.
No, very good point. Yeah, there's a lot of people struggling. We're just trying to change them, one day at a time, and make sure they can stay to fight another day. That's the biggest thing. So,
yeah, and the thing that you don't see and you don't really understand. I never, when I heard the story of 22 people a day committing suicide, ex-military, and the number of people with PTSD and the law enforcement. I never thought that was real, but it's real. I see it every time we have a hunt. And again, I mean, you got a bunch of grown men crying all the time because there's so many struggles that they don't want to talk about. And finally, they got somebody to talk about it with. And, if it doesn't, I say to everybody, if you don't think it's real, just come down here and spend a couple days with us when we're doing one of these hunts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's corporations that are donating to lots of causes. And just because we're a cause doing hunting and guns and all of that stuff, we're making a difference. So, I challenge anybody that wants to help or make a difference to get a hold of you guys so we can get more guys in the field.
Absolutely. And to your point too, one thing I do at our suicide awareness and prevention walk is have everyone in the crowd raise their hand. And this is, 100 plus people. And I tell everyone, raise your hand if you have anxiety, depression, or experiencing that before. Some people raise their hands. Raise your hand if you know someone who does have those. Raise your hand if you've known someone who's taken their own life. By the time I'm done asking these questions, look around and almost everyone has their hands raised. And it shows that we're not that far removed, even though you might think you are, from all of the mental health hurdles that people in our professions go through, not just our professions though, in society in general. But on top of that, it just hits home a little closer when it might be someone that I just had this conversation with someone recently. We just lost another soldier, a veteran here in Minnesota 2 days ago, due to suicide, due to some of the mental health that they've experienced and the things that they went through. And it's just, I hear about it way too much, and it's got to stop, or at least we got to try a little harder every day. And that's what you guys are helping do down there. And I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Your assistance is greatly appreciated. We're doing everything we can at the organization to help get that goal of 100 people for every year. And we're looking for assistance from other individuals who would like to be a part of that. And please reach out to us at the organization or with John. Sean Olsberg, I got to give him a big shout out. He's been a very key element with the organization and being at Harris Ranch. He spent a lot of time with John and Jim there, plus our members, helping them do everything that they do in the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great organization. I obviously reached out because I was looking for a organization that was not heavy in the cost of operation. I was looking for an organization that had people that were volunteering their time to do for others instead of getting paid to do for others. And and that's where you guys are, and that means a lot to people like myself who feel like if we're giving the time and the effort and offering the hunts that are going to people who really need them, and there's somebody else not skimming half of the dollars off or doing something otherwise. You guys are all working people. We got people taking weeks off of their scheduled work days to come out here and help. I mean, what more do you want? What more operation do you want? They're not heavy at the top. We're getting just about every dollar that we take in goes to helping somebody. I mean, that's a big shout to where you guys are headed. And we just need to do it as a team. And again, absolutely. I mean, I don't need any appreciation. I don't need anybody to pull my chain. I just need a way to get these guys in the field, and it's going to take a team, and it's not just me by myself.
Amen. No, I hear you. It's all about the volunteers and the people around us, and those who help us stand, and we help them stand back. And very good point. And one thing, I just had another podcast not long ago where I talked about, it's about being able to share the resources and the experiences that we have to help others. And that's what you guys are doing. You're sharing that, and that's what's going to help. So is there anything else that you'd like to add before we get going here, John?
Well, we can talk all day about it. We can talk all day about deer. We can talk all day about that stuff. But, again, it's not about what I do. Just because I have the outlet, I feel like it's what we have to do as those who have not been in the armed services or have not been a law enforcement officer or who've not been a first responder. You know, I'm just basically got my hat in my hand going, anybody got a really good idea of how we can make this happen to get 100 people in the woods? Get a hold of somebody and let's get it done.
Absolutely. You know, and we do have a couple of videos on our YouTube and social media channels with Harris Ranch. We have one specifically with John talking about the ranch itself and his experiences, similar to the things that we talked about over the podcast. But then we have another one that we do talk to some of the members, and they do talk about their experience at the ranch and the things that they've encountered. And I encourage you to head over to YouTube and check those out, the Harris Ranch videos, and really get a deep dive into what some of these people are experiencing. I believe we have one member who talks about how he hasn't hunted for a while due to the fact that his brother took his own life in their hunting spot, you know, that's a pretty drastic thing. And then all of a sudden he's at the Harris Ranch and begins that healing process a little further. So, but for our listeners, just want to say thank you for tuning in today. Thank you, John, for being here. I appreciate everything you guys are doing down in Texas. I hope to come see you soon and be able to help some members down there as well. Big shout out to Jim and Sean as well for helping at the ranch. But for the listeners, if you want to get more involved with Hometown Hero Outdoors or Harris Ranch specifically, please reach out to our email, which is info@hometownherooutdoors.org. Again, that's info@hometownherooutdoors.org. And then for other listeners too, you know, we are not mental health professionals by any means. However, we are a peer support group of individuals across the country who want to assist you in the outdoor experiences and help your mental health. If you're feeling like you're down or you're having a dark day, you can reach out to us at any time. You can either do that through social media, our phone number on our website, or you can reach out to one of our field staff in the community group. We have applied suicide intervention skills training that we use, and that is a tool in our belt to help you through that crisis. We will find you additional help after that if it's needed. But other than that, you can call 988 or text 988, which is the crisis line, if you do need additional assistance. So please stay here to help us help you another day and get you out in the woods or on the water. So thank you to our listeners for being here today. And thank you to Harris Ranch one more time. And we will see you again next week on the Hometown Hero Outdoors podcast. Thank you.
The Hometown Hero Outdoors podcast is made possible by the following sponsors: O'Neill Electric Contractors, the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association, Relentless Defender Apparel, and Financial Cop Financial Advisors. Thank you for listening to the Hometown Hero Outdoors podcast. For more information, visit our website at hometownherooutdoors.org.